Hey y'all, welcome to Flatbread Friday. Today we're gonna make a fun pizza. I got a popping fresh crust. I harvested some kale from my garden, and the cherry tomatoes that I used, or the grape tomatoes that I used last week on the caprese, I put them in with some white balsamic and some herbs to preserve them and marinate them. And those are going on. I got some nice fresh Parmesan cheese from great. What am I talking about? Misfits Market, duh. And we're gonna start with bacon, also from Misfits Market. And here we go. This bacon was what was left of the ends and pieces. And I chopped up the big pieces. I don't know if you remember seeing those, but anyway, we're gonna wait for this to get crispy and browned up, and then we are going to build our pizza. While our bacon is cooking, I'm going to cut the stems off of this kale, and we're just going to use the nice crunchy green parts. And this one has two sides. Something in the garden must have ate that. Anyway, we're going to do this to all this kale, and this kale is so pretty and curly. I'm just going to rip it into little pieces and use it the way it is instead of cutting it up, because it's like I say, look how curly it is. It's so sweet. Growing great kale. I never grew kale before. This crust has to par bake at 425 for 8 minutes. So we're going to do that first. The bacon is cooked. The rest of the ingredients are ready to go. So be back in 8 minutes. Okay, now it's time to build our pizza. We're going to start with some sauce. That should be enough, but we don't know. Let's spread it around. Our sauce is on, and now it's time for some mozzarella. Cheese is on. Now we're gonna sprinkle our kale pieces all over the place. Looking nice. And I put the kale on first because the tomatoes are marinated and they will protect the kale from getting too crispy. So on with our tomatoes. Easier to get out of a bowl than out of the jar. So we're gonna pop these on, and when you pick them up, get some oil, so the oil will go on the kale. Now it's time for our crispy bacon pieces. I'm just gonna sprinkle those all over. And the very last thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna make some shaved parm to go on this pizza. So you just lay it down, take your vegetable peeler and make strips. And with these strips, we're gonna finish our pizza. Isn't this fun? We're ready to go in the oven, and when it comes out, it's gonna be delicious. About 20 minutes at 425. Here's our bacon, kale, and tomato pizza, fresh out of the oven. And look how those strips melted. They came out so good. And that's what they look like. Whoa, slippery up close and personal. And we are going to slice it and serve it. All cut up and looking delicious. And now we're gonna find an appropriate plate and serve it. So here we have our bacon, tomato, and kale pizza. You know how I like to garnish things, so I went out and picked some parsley from the garden and decorated the plate and the pizza. And it really was a nice combination. I'm really so pleased with the way it came out. You get the tanginess of the marinated tomatoes, the smokiness of the bacon. You can't really taste the kale, but it gives it a nice color. And the Parmesan cheese on top is a really nice touch at the end too. So it's a good one. And happy Flatbread Friday. Thank you for joining me for another edition of Flatbread Friday. I had a lot of fun pulling stuff out of my head and pulling stuff out of my refrigerator and making this bacon, tomato, and kale pizza. And I hope you make it, and I hope you like it, and we'll see you again soon.